April 27, 2011, under major public pressure for President Obama to release his birth certificate, WhiteHouse.gov published what they claim to be President Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate. Upon release of the birth certificate, numerous concerns arose among experts and novices alike that the alleged document was not authentic. Formally, a group of citizens from Maricopa County, Arizona, asked Sheriff Arpaio's office to investigate the matter because of Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5 of the U.S. Constitution requiring the President of the United States to be a natural-born citizen.
We found that there was probable cause to suspect the long-form birth certificate presented by the White House was fraudulent. You will also recall that we looked into the President's elected service form, and we believe that that form is fraudulent.
In the first finding of the investigation, Sheriff Arpaio described it as an imminent threat to national security and U.S. immigration law due to a legal loophole in Hawaii. The investigation uncovered that at the time of Obama's birth, the state was issuing birth certificates to parents of unattended births that may have occurred out of state or overseas, so long as the parents could establish legal residency. And to qualify as a legal resident, one must only provide residency in the state for 12 months and payment of taxes. Therefore, Hawaii-issued birth certificates are not evidentiary of citizenship. The second major finding is that the document provided by the White House is proven to have been tampered with.
We had two other individuals not utilized by us prior to March 1st, Garrett Pappas, Tim Saletti Jr. Both of them independently, not knowing of each other, performed over 600 tests apiece on the long-form birth certificate doing computerized forensic analysis. They could not get the document to do what the long-form birth certificate does, the PDF file released by the White House, and independent of each other, both came to the same conclusion. So from a document forensic digital perspective, we believe the document has been tampered with, so much so that the only way to get it to do what it does is with blatant human intervention.
The third finding of the investigation concludes President Obama could not have been born at the hospital that has been reported. The birth certificate the White House produced contains a higher certificate number than a set of twins recorded to have been born after him at the same hospital. This conflicts with the information from the Hawaii Department of Health and testimony from the signator of the document, Verna K.L. Lee, who indicate certificate numbers were assigned chronologically according to the time of birth. So it would have been impossible for Obama to have a higher certificate number than a set of twins who were recorded to have been born after him. The last major discovery in the investigation uncovers the document produced by the White House is in conflict with itself. The document in question has pencil markings with the number 9 in box 9 and 12B for race of father and occupation respectively. We learned this was for vital statistic recording purposes, and the number 9 represents unknown or not stated. However, the boxes contain information, so essentially the birth certificate is in conflict with itself.
Any way you twist and turn with this document, it is plagued with problems. This document doesn't even meet the test of the Department of Health's own prima facie evidence requirement, which is the lowest form of evidence that you could get. It is in conflict with itself on its face. It's time for this charade to stop.
In the face of this compelling evidence, it was surprising to see the media at the press conference during the question and answer session attack Sheriff Arpaio and lead investigator Mike Zullo rather than ask substantive questions about the investigation.
Sheriff, good morning. how do you expect any of us to believe any of this? You have two investigators who are in business together, and their business is peddling conspiracy theories. Mr. Zullo, can you clear up some questions about your background in law enforcement?
What do you want to know?
Yeah, how many years did you work for the Demarest Police Department?
5.
And how long of that portion of the time were you a detective?
Almost the entire time. They took me out of uniform extremely young. I also started as a reserve officer there prior to that.
It seems that if this were a real investigation, you'd be saving this for a judge and jury or a prosecutor. Sheriff, your department has nearly 500 cases of child sex crimes that they did not investigate. What do you say to those kids that see you putting all this energy
So let's
into
go,
this case?
I have a question. Mr. Posse has indicated in the past that he's offered up money to try to get information about hospital records in this particular Obama birth certificate case.
You mentioned that the locals dislike or distrust police. You didn't go over there in an official police capacity. Why would you expect them to give you any information at all, especially private medical records?
It's not.
Are you incriminating the president in any way? Are you saying that the president has anything to do with this?
I am not.
So what do you want to happen? What exactly do you want?
Sheriff, are you ever going to let this further issue, are you ever put it to rest at all?
Sheriff, given what you believe to be the case here, if the president
This is the last
in
question.
Phoenix with a motorcade, would you have your deputies pull him over?
The what?
Would you have your deputies pull him over to prove his citizenship?
Well, I did a Google search for the Arpaio investigation in Google News, and 2 clusters of articles show up. The one from yesterday, and then the one from 2 days ago, since today is July 21st. And the news articles immediately after the press conference, you would think that with this type of information that there would be some serious coverage of the issue. Well, as you look through the results, we see the common birther term, which really is a derogatory term for people that question the eligibility of the president. And then you have articles from not very large organizations, local, Tucson Citizen, Newsroom America, nothing that I've really heard of before. But if you look at the actual headlines, we see things like Joe Arpaio's birther investigation blasted by Randy, whomever that was. We see things like Obama birth record definitely fraudulent. Arpaio's birther brigade launches verbal assault. Joe Arpaio's birther obsession keeps getting stranger. Joe Arpaio birther club hit with IRS complaint. Critics blast Arpaio's birther findings. Others distance themselves. Democratic sheriff candidate attacks Arpaio over birther probe. The sheriff's birther brouhaha. Arpaio still doubts Obama birth documents. So as we can see, this is not about looking so much into the investigation as it is attacking Arpaio and sort of demeaning the fact that people are even questioning this. And so if we go ahead and we look at the day after the press conference, we see a report about his racial profiling lawsuit and how it's underway in Phoenix. So immediately after the press conference, we have news coverage of a group of people in Maricopa County who actually are suing the sheriff for these roundups, these accusations that he's racially profiling Hispanics, and that he needs to issue an apology and stop the practices. So if we look through these headlines, we see things like Sheriff Joe Arpaio goes to court in Latinos discrimination suit. Arizona Sheriff Arpaio faces allegations of racial profiling. Arizona Sheriff Arpaio under scrutiny in racial profiling trial. LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Philadelphia Inquirer. So some bigger newspapers. But for the most part, it's all about how Sheriff Arpaio is defending himself in a racial profiling case. So I have two questions for you, and please leave your answers in the comment section of the video. My first question is, let's assume that the racial profiling allegations are true. Doesn't the focus on this trial on racial profiling discredit the sheriff and distract the public from an important and substantive investigation into potential illegal conduct at the White House? Second question, is it important to you to uphold the Constitution and hold the president accountable to the law? And is the evidence that was presented by lead investigator Zullo and Arpaio compelling? Again, please leave your comments in the comment section of the video, and also subscribe to my updates on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Thank you.